Just gotta make sure that the theme is the right volume because I don't want it to, go over my voice. But I don't want it to be too quiet either. We want to have a balance of the two different clashing audios. If that makes any sense. I'm sure it does. Okay, okay. At some point, it decides to go up like a really high, like, and yeah, that's really amazing because it's a great part of the song. But we just want the mood and everything to be balanced. I can't even tell what you guys are, inputting. Are we having a headphone users in the chat? Probably. All right. You know what? I think around here should be good. It's like at 34 out of 100, 32. Wait, hold up. This part's just kind of good. All right, fine. 32, 100. Yeah, I think that's a nice balance. You guys probably hear it pretty. Anyways, welcome back to Investigative Game Analysis. For today, we are live again. Once again, we've had 2 other live streams on this channel total. Both of those have been about movie reviews, telling what we think of a movie, and then also talking about the lore and how it contrasts to the lore of the original video game. Yeah, the movies were all video game movies. First, it was the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, and then it was Iron Lung, which was made by Markiplier, both of which I had seen. So yeah, the Super Mario Galaxy movie came out April 1st. I saw it on a Tuesday. It was like, hold up, like I don't know. It's like, I don't remember the exact date I saw it, but it was only a little while past the release date. I just can't remember exactly the time of date. But yeah, it was really something. A lot of people online have had a lot of different opinions about it. Critics, audiences. There's a lot of opinions on certain areas. But I think there's one thing that everybody agrees on. The movie was really underdeveloped. That's a very big truth. People have seen they expected more in the movie based on what the video game was about and everything. They wanted more. They found something missing. Something missing. And that was also probably because of the reverse of roles. Because in the video game, as you guys know, in the Super Mario Galaxy video game lore, we have Princess Peach who gets kidnapped as always. I mean, man, why are princesses always getting kidnapped? She's held captive by Bowser, as always, how each of the video games are always going. But they decided to make a really bold choice. The filmmakers, they made something a really bold choice. They decided, oh, we're gonna not have Peach get kidnapped. We're gonna instead have Rosalina get kidnapped. That was something, guys. But maybe it was because in the they already had Peach be kind of strong and like confident in like the first film. So considering that, they probably just wanted to kind of continue with the trend, I guess. But still, it was kind of a stretch for them to have Rosalina get kidnapped because in the lore, she's like this super powerful person that's like the leader of all the Lumas and everything. So that was, and also she had like 0 character depth. Like we did see the lore reveal that they had where Peach and Rosalina were sisters. Which a lot of people think Rosalina is actually the mother of Princess Peach, which sparks some new theories. But siblings, gotta say that's new, very very new, guys. It's too new. But yeah, as I was saying, Rosalina just they didn't really show her enough. That's all I'm really saying. They didn't show any of the complex lore taking place. They just showed like a flashback of her with Princess Peach. And then they had like it was the showing of her getting captured. Yeah, that's what I'm remembering from. Yeah, also forgot to say, I always put a warning at like the beginning of these streams, like, we're gonna have spoilers about the movie, so don't stay if you don't want spoilers, of course. This is directly talking about all the themes of the movies. And how did I forget to say that? I usually say that in the beginning of the live stream. I don't know how I forgot. But you know who did have character depth? Bowser. Bowser had quite a lot of character depth, I gotta say, because it showed how he was like the main antagonist and like, oh, I'm gonna get you and everything. But then they're like, oh, I feel kind of bad actually. And then Bowser Jr. there, and then he's like, oh, never mind, we're gonna be equal. But then they just left Rosalina out of the party. They didn't give her the power that she has in the game. So hopefully they aren't going to do the same thing with Daisy like in the third film, because over at the end cutscene we see a cameo of Daisy. So it better not just have her be like another damsel in distress, because we're going to have some kind of a new trend eventually. We can't just have every single one of them be damsels and then nothing new happens. Go around trying to save them, and nothing from the video game actually gets showed at any point. They don't have the depth that they had before. So we're just gonna have to kind of cross our fingers and hope that we see a little bit of a change in this third film. Well, the music's kind of reaching its peak right now. We're getting the piano and everything. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. All right. Time to talk about other elements of the film. Bowser Jr. Yeah, we got to talk about this. He was kind of great, honestly. I feel like out of everybody, he kind of carried the film a little bit because he was the one making things funny. He was tending to be all the tough guy that is so powerful. And then he's trying to get his dad to convince. He's trying to convince his dad to. Even though it really doesn't match up with the video game, how Bowser is kind of regretful. I mean, in the video game, he is kind of an out sometimes, but I don't know for sure that he's regretful for what he's done, because he's always kind of self-interested in everything. So, but still, the chemistry between both of them, where it's just like they have such a bond that Bowser's like, "Come on, Dad, don't you want to do these evil things with me? Don't you like what I've made? Isn't Mario who you hate? I'm trying to honor you by ending their lives." And then Bowser's like, "Oh, my son. Sometimes just a little bit of a water gun is better than full on blasting." Yeah, it was cute. It was cute to say the least. And then it was also funny how Bowser got giant after Mario just ran and tried to trample him and everything. And he just ends up as a skeleton at the end of the movie. And also, they don't show very many different environments that we see like in the video game, where we have all the different areas. We have all the different parts of the universe. They didn't show like how junky everything was. They didn't really incorporate any of the video game stuff. Versus the first film actually does incorporate some of the video games, which I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating how films in certain series, they just start out one way and then gradually change, where the writers just don't do kind of the same thing they did in the first one. And yeah, of course, you're gonna want to see some new stuff, some different storylines, new things happening. We want to see different parts of different areas, but at the same time, you do have to be consistent in how you show a film or video game adaptation, because over time, if you just kind of forget everything and how it was, then really what's the point? Because it's just, we're just changing everything, and it doesn't have a clear purpose in what we're trying to actually show. That's the thing. Being consistent and precise and present a piece of art, not just how could I paint a picture metaphor for this? We gotta have metaphors to explain ourselves on this channel, Investigative Game Analysis. How can I make a metaphor? It'd be like if Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo had like this canvas where they had this just extravagant piece of art showing this giant garden and a bunch of people hanging out, and then a silhouette of and it's supposed to be a sort of storyline for a trip to the garden. That's what he calls a trip to the garden. And then there's supposed to be a sequel, which is a canvas, and then it's just like a blob. Yeah, that was probably hard to follow. I understand if it was hard to follow because metaphors are hard to follow. Why wouldn't they be? They're metaphors. This is just bliss. You know. It's just throwing itself out here right now with the what is this? What is this instrument right now? What is that violin? It's like oh yeah, I think it might be actually. Just using my ears to try and discern what it is that we're hearing. All right, now moving on. Was there any good parts of this film? Any parts that were truly exceptional that it does, despite the not showing of the video game stuff? Is there any part that it was actually good that they did a really good job executing? Of course, I said the depth of Bowser, despite him supposed to be an evil monster that is trying to kill everyone. Uh, to a degree, I guess they did a good job showing how the Lumas were because the Lumas are just they grew up without a mother, and then they're just the way they are. They're like they in the film they show kind of a protective energy towards Rosalina when you remember when that Luma just flew and then Rosalina was like, "Do not hurt my Luma." Oh, that was insane because it's like they're so young, so it's like reversing the role of having the the children care for the parent rather than the parent care for the child. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Rosalina doesn't care about her Lumas. Of course she does, but like the Luma was really showing a great amount of responsibility towards its mother because they, to a degree, understand what she went through, and they went through the same thing because they were without a mother. Oh wait, are we having voice lines right now? Yo, we were like, oh, Galaxy. I did not do the pitching right, but this is the first time I did not expect to have people actually saying words in this. I just searched up non-copyright Mario music songs, and then what came up was like a Super Mario Galaxy thing, like under a Mario Kart one, and I was like, it would match the theme because Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's what we're talking about, obviously. Yeah, but what I was curious about while watching the scene where the Luma is trying to when basically Bowser Jr. comes in riding on that giant machine and then he's trying to kidnap Rosalina. Basically, what I was wondering is would Rosalina, the arguably one of the most morally pure characters in the entirety of Mario, I mean, it's debatable with how crazy all the theories can get and everything, but from what we know, arguably she's pretty pure. She's carrying a motherly energy and everything, and she's doing good acts. Would she sacrifice one of her Lumas if that meant that the rest of them live? She has like a lot of them. Like there were at least 50 in that bedroom when the Lumas were like, Rosalina, can you tell us a story? And then yeah, there's got to be at least 50 of them, and that's just exhausting having 50 kids. Uh, if we saw one of them get kidnapped, so would Rosalina be willing to sacrifice one of her Lumas if that meant that the rest of them would be living? That really got me thinking while I was sitting in the movie theater seat because it's challenging the morality of Rosalina herself, and I just think that's fascinating. You know, what could push Rosalina to her limit? What could make her do something that she regrets? And also with all the crazy theories of Mario being as evil as he is, because he does make you question him. He makes you a little skeptical, I gotta say, with all the stomping on all the creatures. Also, how he treats his brother. And I also noticed in the film, Mario is extensively nice to his brother. He's always standing up for his little bro. That's pretty sweet. Not what we see in the games. Not at all. Oh, just how the game and the movie are just so vastly different. All right, what other parts are we to judge of this movie? What if you were sitting in a movie theater and you're like, we listen and we don't judge? I mean, you'd probably get kicked out. But we're gonna be doing a little bit of judging. What parts of this film were particularly, because I feel like I keep going in circles. I'm already talking about some of the bad stuff, and I'm also mentioning some of the good stuff. Yeah. Scene where Peach was over on the roof and with Mario, that was pretty cinematic, I gotta say. It was nice. It's just how they execute it and everything. Some parts they really bring it to a high, while other parts they just kind of throw in the dumps. Um, I'm gonna start talking calm because this music is such a calm song that just kind of resonates in the background, and I'm totally gonna hypnotize you so much. Oh, I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. Now we're getting an epic one, guys. We're getting an epic, very epic. Oh, random things. Why am I like this every single time I do a live stream with music? It's like I have a topic I'm supposed to discuss and I just kind of vibe out. All right, what other parts of this film do I gotta think? The ending part with the lava. Like I just gotta say that was really cool because it's like the fight with Bowser, and then how he comes back up, and then he's a skeleton, and it's like Bowser Jr.'s like, Dad, no, and then he just respects him so much. I just gotta say the chemistry they did great on, even if the overall film lacked so much depth. And also, what I'm curious about is the difference in how casual viewers versus viewers that are like really ingrained in the Mario storyline would react. Because, casual people would probably like the movie, I guess. Imagine watching the Super Mario Galaxy movie with no context on the first film, because technically both of them are completely 100% different storylines, and that's also something they did good on is they made it so that even without watching the first film, you would be able to watch the second one and still be able to, enjoy it. It's just they kind of sacrificed more potential they could have put into it because it's like some of the best characters were put out of it. They could have had more characters, they could have done more. They also it felt like every character in the movie was kind of just more of a dud than they were before. Because in the first film, it's like you really get to know their personalities. Donkey Kong, he's loud, obnoxious, and arrogant. Toad, he's like helpful, but also, kind of crazy sometimes. But then in the second film, it's like they're kind of entirely focused on the plot with, just going to find Rosalina, that you just kind of forget about personalities and everything of kind of all the background characters. And it's all this one giant quest. And then most of that depth goes towards Bowser and Bowser Jr. It all just steers kind of away from one area where you saw the original characters from the first film, some of the same ones. We have Peach. I think Toad is in it as well. Yeah, I remember Toad being there. And it was brief. I don't remember Toad, like he doesn't have this giant storyline or anything, which he doesn't have to have a giant storyline. It's just bring back some of the charm we had from the first film. bring back some of the old stuff, or bringing the new stuff in as well. There can be a balance. You can have both of them. That's you can have both. Uh, the old stuff that you had in the first film with the new characters and depth still being there, while also bringing the new storylines like the Lumas and everything, and Bowser Jr. And yeah, with Bowser Jr., I gotta praise his ego. I respect that ego he's got. It's a good ego. It's a really, really fascinating, good ego. Ooh, this one's nice. You just kind of got to groove to it. What would I rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Now that's the real question. Honestly, we're gonna increase that scale to a scale of 1 to 100. What would I rate this on a scale of 1 to 100? Man, I mean placement is hard. I did genuinely enjoy watching the movie, which is what makes it so fascinating to try to see the mix of how you're feeling. Because it's like the movie was good to follow. It was fun to watch. It's like you're actually seeing conflict and resolution happen. But it's just disappointing because more of the old stuff could have been there. So for that reason, I'd probably rank it like maybe a 60 to 66 out of 100. Not quite a 70 because 70 is too high. If it was a 70, I would have actually appreciated, some of the movie being better paced and having more of the old depth. But because it was still good to watch, I would still say it's probably a 60 or it like goes up to 66 at least because it was good. It was decent. It was just they did poor with the pacing and everything, and they did poor showing. They're clearly showing exactly what the plot was and moving deeper into it. That's all I gotta say about it. Just missed potential, but also like you did good. You did good. Okay. Oh wait, I haven't talked about Yoshi yet. That's the character I haven't been talking about. Yoshi. What's funny is Yoshi kind of reminds me of in Star Wars Jar Jar Binks because they both have the same kind of voice, and it just feels like a fandom would just kind of hate him for what his voice is like because you know how extreme the hate got for Jar Jar Binks. Like, wait, wrestle. Hold up. What's the sentence I want to say? You must start the engine. You must start it. Why am I turning into British? Why am I saying Shakespearean now? I was about to say you must start the engine. When does Jar Jar Binks ever talk like that? But yeah, what I'm saying is Yoshi kind of matched Jar Jar Binks with his high pitched voice, except he's kind of cute, He's just helping. He's a sidekick, but again, he's just a sidekick. Like we have like three main characters, like five main characters. We have the villains and everything. Five main characters, and then like everyone else is a sidekick. You know why do we have so many sidekicks? Like bring it out. Do something good with it. Bring something cool about it. Something pretty amazing could be made. Ooh, now we got a whole parade going on in this music. Sweet. I like this. I like this. All right. Well, I think I've just about covered everything I wanted to cover for the film, except one more thing. There's one character I absolutely cannot just. Well, actually, before we move to them, let's talk about that Fox guy. He was also pretty rad. The Toad absolutely loved him. He thought he was the coolest person ever, and he just was great at fixing engines. He was like that archetype where it's like the cool person that just helps. I'm fine with. I mean, it's not a big deal that he wasn't like a major character or anything because I mean, you don't need the Fox to be a major character. But yeah, he's cool. All right, now finally moving on. The final thing we're going to talk about is the character I absolutely cannot ignore. Wait, hold. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We got to talk about Luigi first. That's the other person I've been missing. So Luigi was cool. I already said before that the protectiveness between the brothers was cool. But Luigi seemed, compared to Mario, he lacked the fire that Mario was getting because Mario was just like really short tempered. He was like, "That looks terrible," when understandably when Bowser shows him the picture of Peach. And then Luigi's like, "I love the colors." We see that in the trailer long before the movie ever comes out. So that was one of the most iconic points of the film ever. Uh, yeah, Luigi's just being a great guy, you know. I wonder if he's gonna expand in the third film when Daisy comes out. Something's gotta happen between them because the video game. All right, guys, for real this time. For real this time, we're gonna talk about the final character that I cannot ignore. It is the monkey, the rebel monkey that was stealing all of the stuff using his pity to get people to bring stuff and then stealing things and running away using emotions. That was the best character, guys. He understood what psychological manipulation was. He is the GOAT. He was hilarious, guys. He was absolutely hilarious. Hold up. This chat. Hold up. Let me get some emotions. Emojis. Emotions. I'm getting emotions and emojis. We need to get some monkey emojis in this chat. I need some monkeys. Oh yes, so many monkeys. So many monkeys. So many monkeys. All right, that's perfect, guys. I think we have enough monkeys. Hold on. Yeah, we got enough. We got enough. All right. Anyways, I'm making some theories about the storyline potentially on my other channel, Investigative Game Speculation, which I'll type in the chat. I do this every time I tell you about my other channel, which I'm making theories about video games and video game movies. Investigative Game Speculation. It's in the chat right now. I have been kind of busy, it's been hard for me to get all the stuff done, running all the two different channels, but it's good to be back finally. So yeah, that just about covers what I wanted to talk about for the review of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. For anybody who watches, I know a few people came on. I know people will probably, more people will probably come after I end the stream. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment below, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out. And there's always